you're just using a whole body vibration platform for the first time, welcome. The goal today is to get you using and experimenting with this machine long before you get into a structured program. There's a few tips that I'm going to offer, and the first tip that I'm going to offer, if you are dealing with medical concerns, poor range of motion, fatigue, or perhaps you're just a little bit scared, you'll notice that I'm seated in a chair. Depending on your height, you can use a machine starting out, or in another fashion, seated in a chair with your feet on the machine. Depending on your height, you want to make sure that you're seated at a good 90-degree angle. And for the course of this demonstration, if you are fearful or dealing with medical concerns, please stay seated and go through the motions with your lower legs. For the rest of you that are ready to get to a demonstration, we are going to progress to standing on the machine. So before we do that, I want you to get your machine going. The primary movement style is oscillating, pivotal, or moves you like a teeter-totter. Very much how we walk across the floor. Before I stand up on the machine, the first lesson I want everyone to understand is amplitude or displacement. So amplitude is the distance between your feet or hands in contact with the platform. You'll notice if you bring your feet closer to the center, you're not moving as much. If you widen them to the outer edges, you're moving much more and you start feeling things shake. So depending on the speed that you are using and the exercise position that you are doing, the distance between your feet or hands is completely different for everyone. Your tolerance, your range of motion, your ability. So at any time, if you're feeling things are too intense, bring your feet closer to the center. If you want a little bit more action, widen them up as we go through this demonstration. Put your feet about hip width apart. Progress to standing on the machine, but keep those knees slightly bent. If you've tried this in the past, or if you're feeling at this point too much head vibration, our body's kind of lazy. It has a tendency to try and find the easier way to do everything. So it has a tendency to lock up those legs or stand us very tall, and we become very much like an A-frame, and all that movement is moved up towards the head. So bend those knees just slightly. Those natural shock absorbers will kick in, and you'll notice that you shouldn't feel the vibration much above the chest or the neck by any means. If at any time throughout this demonstration you feel it too much in the head, you've probably unlocked your knees a little bit, so just keep them bent. If you're finding at this point with your feet hip width apart, it's a little scary, it's a little aggressive, bring those feet closer to the center, or continue seated in the chair as I suggested at the beginning. For those of you that are remaining standing, hip width apart, it's kind of choppy on these speeds. You feel everything shaking and moving around, and that's for a reason. The slower speeds or levels on your platform are about balance and stability. These are about destabilizing your body, and if perhaps you're a yoga person taking a class, or you're doing exercises that challenge your stability, these are good speeds to experiment with those types of exercises. If you are dealing with a medical concern, Parkinson's, recovering from a stroke, you're doing some pediatric recovery on the machine, we all want to improve our balance, but you may not necessarily want to challenge it yet. So just by standing on the platform at any speed, it's important to know your body's stabilizing itself. The balance is to a degree a side effect of just using this machine regularly. I'd like you to bring your feet a little closer now, and I'd like you to bring your speed level up to more of a mid-range, whatever that represents on your machine. And you'll notice, as you get going a little faster, it's smoother, it's less choppy. Your body's moving back and forth still, but at a faster rate, more times per second. So depending on what you're doing and how you're feeling at this point, if you're comfortable with your feet closer to the center, knees are slightly bent, you can just stand there and enjoy the benefits of a variety of relaxation, lymph, circulation. Perhaps you've just been sitting a little bit too long and you just want to get some energy going. If you are taller, you're carrying a bit more weight, or you just want to stand wider, your body will tolerate it different. Everyone is different in how it feels and how it is absorbed by your muscles. So again, I usually recommend no more than hip width apart. It's not necessary. If you want to progress and experiment with something a little bit more challenging, instead of just standing there, progress into like a little bit of a squat, like you're getting ready to sit back in that chair. But just hold still. See where you feel the pressure build. You don't feel like you're fighting it or resisting the machine. If it feels too aggressive again at any time, bring those feet closer to the center. Okay, we'll stand ourselves back up. I'd like you to bring the machine up to the high end of those speed ranges now. And again, you will notice faster yet, smoother yet. So there is no exact speed or level or duration that's going to suit every person's goals out there, but I want you to get comfortable with experimenting on this machine. Those slow speeds and levels again are about balance and stability. The mid ranges, they're a little smoother, a little bit more relaxation. You'll get longer durations in your exercise positions. These higher ranges, as you get moving a little bit faster, you will notice if you are doing fitness positions, this is where we start getting into faster fatigue. The more movements per second, the harder those muscles are working. For those of you that just like the feel of the higher speeds and just want to spend a little bit more time on them, bring the feet closer, make sure those knees are slightly bent, or resume and spend a little bit more time seated in a chair. Some starting out points. The biggest goal I wanted to get across today is start moving and feeling better. The sooner you start using this machine and experimenting with it, you'll figure out what speed levels are best for your body type and your goals. And the more you use, the more you're going to start noticing the benefits of this amazing technology.